This recording is for the
Yes,
internal
ma'am.
only. Yeah. So whenever your team is making the draft final, share it with me or my assistant once. Uh, the draft should be shared with me. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. So let's start.
Yeah. Sure. Sure.
Yes. Greetings of the day. Welcome to the Finance and Investment Cell of Aryabhatta College, Delhi University. Today, I, Sudeshna Saha, and my co-host Ansh Kapoor and Garv Gupta are proud to have you on board for our annual magazine, Absolute Advantage of this year, 2022 to 2023.
Thank you so much. We can go ahead with the questions, I think.
So let's start with the questions. So the first question is that what was the factor that pushed you towards preparing for UPSC CSC and not seeking a well-paying corporate job?
Okay, so here actually I would like to start mentioning briefly about my own self. So I am Sonal Goel. I'm an IAS officer of 2008 batch. Acha, one more thing I would like to mention to the team that while speaking, it may be little bit longer, but when you are making that Word document, so you may extract the relevant part, right? Because once you are speaking, I may speak a bit extra. Okay, but there might be a word limit or a page limit, so your team is free to edit that, no problem. Okay.
Sure, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll start by saying that when I was in my third year of graduation, I was doing it from Shriram College of Commerce, Delhi University. So it was way back in 2003, and I was also doing CS along with that. So basically, CS का second stage का exam I had given, and I was doing uh, my graduation. So I read about civil services in one of the magazine, and prior to that, nobody in my family had ever thought of appearing in civil services. And when I then read about it more, I tried to find out more information. I somehow felt that I should try at least joining civil services because it would give me a platform wherein I can contribute to the nation, to people's welfare, connect to the masses and society. But then when I discussed this with my parents, especially my father, there were a lot of apprehensions which came into their mind. Firstly, definitely this examination is still one of the toughest in our country. So lakhs of aspirants appear and the selection is in few hundreds. And of course, after selection, which service you will get, after service which cadre you will get, and then after cadre where will you be posted and how will you manage your family and professional life. All these things came as apprehension into the mind of my parents. But then there was a dialogue for around, I would say, 6 to 8 months, and then my father okay agreed. But then he also suggested one thing, that I should have a plan B in my life. So by plan B, he meant that if I don't clear civil services, there should be something which should be there as a fallback career option. So taking his advice, I completed my graduation in 2003. I completed my CS in 2004. June 2004, I gave my examination. And after that, I appeared for LLB entrance for doing law from Delhi University. I cleared that entrance. I got myself enrolled in LLB. That was a regular course. And in the same year, then I started preparing for civil services in 2004. And I also wanted not to waste my academic qualification. So I also started my part time job as a company secretary. So from 2004 to 2007, these three things were moving parallel in my life. First, of course, was the focus was on civil services preparation. Then I was also doing law, which was a regular course. I was attending classes and I was also doing the part time job. So managing all these things were not easy. They were very difficult. Time management was crucial. But I tried to give my best. And also, I would like to mention that I appeared for my first attempt in 2006. Unfortunately, I could not clear. So I wrote the civil services examination again in 2007. And in that examination, I I gave all my efforts, all my energy, whatever I could, and I cleared this examination with All India Rank 13. The results came in May 2008, and I got selected. So, this was my journey prior to entering civil services. So, the question which was that the factors which push towards preparing for civil services, while I could very well have a well paying corporate job profile. So I think my first and foremost reason of coming to civil services was that I really wanted to utilize my potential, my knowledge, my experience for serving the people, for connecting to the masses. The civil services definitely has that charisma and respect in the society. And very important thing is that it gives an opportunity to serve the people at a very young age. So you, if you enter civil services even if you are below 25, or say even if below 30, you will become the deputy commissioner or the SP of the district in 5 to 7 years. So, in your early 30s or mid 30s, you are getting this opportunity wherein you can impact the lives of many. So, these were the reasons primarily I actually tried to be in civil services. And by God's grace, I could do, and it has been now almost 14 years that I am in services, and I have served Tripura and I have served Haryana. I have gained varied kind of diverse experience. Right. Thank you.
It's great to listen about your journey.
I think the best part of being an IAS officer or the civil services is again the same, that at a very young age you have diverse opportunities of connecting to the people, serving the society. And also, I would like to mention that whether it is COVID 19 or whether it is any kind of emergency which hits the nation, it is the civil services, the IES, IPS officers, and of course other people, other officers who are serving in bureaucracy, who are at the helm of the affairs all the time. So, despite all kind of notions, apprehensions, and of course, see, no system is perfect, and we have been seeing the how civil services are being criticized. Even in recent times, we have seen few incidents which people tend to generalize. But I would like to say that there are many unsung warriors. There are many unseen heroes who are trying to give their best, and who are actually running the who are actually uh, trying to implement the various government schemes and policies in the best possible manner they can. So I think the best part of being an IAS officer is that you are getting an opportunity at a very young age. There is a diversity. So in one day, at one point of time, you can be a deputy collector or a commissioner, district magistrate, wherein you are working in a rural area. The other day, you can be, of course, transferred, and you can be in secretariat in the state headquarter as a director or a commissioner, wherein you may be working in urban development department or science and tech. So there is diverse opportunities, but I would also like to mention that there are a few inherent challenges in civil services. For example, transfers and postings are quite frequent, and in the sense that officers generally do not control their transfers and postings, and there is a dynamic paraphernalia in which we have to work, which is surrounded by the political bosses, the media, judiciary, NGOs, civil society organizations, public at large, the common citizens. So we have to work in a dynamic paraphernalia, which is not easy. And once we are transferred, it is not only the officer who is being shifted. We also have a family to take care of. The entire family gets affected. So my daughter, she is now 9 years old, but I would say that every year her school is changing. Every year she is in class 5, but from her preparatory, from her prep till now, her school is changing almost every year. So these are the challenges which we officers need have to face. We cannot avoid beyond a point. But there's also a beauty of getting this opportunity. And when we are talking about my training in Lavasna, I joined Lavasna in September 2008. First September 2008, our batch training started. So first 3 to 4 months are foundation course training, wherein we interact with officers of other services also. So with my batch in the IES, we were trained along with officers of the IPS, Indian Foreign Service, Indian Forest Service, and also there were few officers of the Royal Bhutan Civil Service. So you get an opportunity of knowing the officers from all across the country, their diverse culture, their language, their varied experience. Someone is from Hindi medium, someone is from English medium. They speak different languages, food habits, and of course their academic and professional backgrounds. And I can recall that few of the fellow OTs, we are termed as officer trainees when we do our training. So they had actually come through extreme hardship. They started working at a very young age, and then they crossed many hurdles in life, and then they were in Labasna. So there are heroes and heroines amongst us, and training at Labasna is very refreshing. And of course, after foundation, we have our phase one, phase two. Those are professional training specifically aimed for IAS officers. And we also have our Bharat Darshan, we also have our village visits, we also have our treks, we have our other kind of schedules and commitments which are aiming to improve the physical and as well as the mental health of the officer training, because we have to work amongst the humongous pressure. There's a lot of stress in our daily routine life. So they all try to acquaint us with the challenges which we are going to foresee, and also the academic classes, the way we attend lectures. That is also, I think, one of the best in the country.
Sure, ma'am. The entire journey of Labasna is really enriching. So, ma'am, I would like to ask that what do you want to suggest to choose civil as their career due to money or peer pressure?
I think if these are the two criterias, money and peer pressure, then please do not come to civil services. This is my, I may be rude in saying, but I am saying it with my experience of say around 14 years in government. If you are coming with civil service into civil services, your purpose should be clear कि आपको क्यों आना है. Why do you want to join civil services? What is the burning purpose or the aim which are forcing you to join civil services? It should not be. It cannot be money. It definitely cannot be money. If we see the pay structure of an officer, they are very less as compared to any professional who was working in a private sector. And peer pressure में तो बिल्कुल नहीं करना चाहिए, because peer pressure can pressurize you for 2 or 3 months, but it cannot let you sustain the pressure, sustain the stress of going through the entire process of preparation. So if you have that intrinsic motivation, your inner motivation and inner drive that yes, I want to be in civil services, whether it is the UPSC or it is the state civil service, 2 or 3 things should be clear: that it is still one of the most toughest examination. Competition is very high. We should never forget that if selection is not sure, you should not end up in wasting 2 to 3 of your crucial years of the youth while preparing and gaining nothing. Therefore, I also advise the aspirants that there should be a plan B in your life. If you're not able to get through civil services, what will you do? Because you may have a reason of, say, for my case, if even aspirants ask me कि मैम अगर आपका नहीं होता, what was your plan B in life? My plan B was that if I don't clear civil services, I would have definitely joined corporate sector, because I was a CS and I was also doing law. In 2007 my LLB was also complete, so I would have definitely joined corporate sector or set up my own practice. And initially, it takes time to stabilize with all this. So I would have definitely have had my own NGO or any civil society organization through which I would have try to do some work, do some welfare activities for the people, for especially for the youth, especially for the women, for the old age citizens. So this was my plan B कि अगर मैं सिविल सर्विसेज में नहीं होता तो मैं प्राइवेट सेक्टर ज़रूर ज्वाइन करती या अपना प्रैक्टिस एस्टैब्लिश करती as a corporate legal, and then I would have established my own NGO or a civil society organization through which I would have tried to help and reach out to the people. So my request to the aspirants is that do not join for money or peer pressure or say power influence. Do not, please do not go after this. These are all temporary. You have to work for the people, and that should be the prime reason behind. And definitely you, if you work well, if you work for the people, you will get respect. Your wherever you are posted, you will have that charisma in your personality, the charisma in the way of your working. People will definitely give that honor to you. So that is something which we in civil services get. It is not for any other reason that we should be here, right?
So, ma'am, you have already talked about the hard work and focus required to clear the civil services exam. So, ma'am, given your experiences, what are some non-obvious sacrifices that one has to make while preparing for the same?
I think the word which we have been reading and saying, quarantine, from last 2 years. So this is one word which is very much relevant for any civil services aspirant, that you need to focus on your goal and aim, and it is also very important to isolate yourself from all kind of distractions, because time is very important. Say for example, if somebody has to appear for next year, time is already started. At least 2 years you need to prepare. 1 year prior to giving prelims, एक साल प्रीलिम्स से पहले और एक साल आपका पूरा प्रोसेस में लगता है. प्रीलिम्स, मेंस एंड इंटरव्यू, दिस साइकिल entirely takes 1 year. It is important to understand that, and then remove all kind of distractions and source of disturbances from your daily routine first. Secondly, be selfish in your time. Thirdly, there would be many people who will keep on criticizing you that you are not attending social occasions, social functions में नहीं आते हो, शादी है, cousin की wedding है, friend के यहाँ जाना है, birthday है, anniversary है, आप नहीं जा रहे हो, तो but don't worry for that. Even in my case, when I was preparing for civil services, my relatives used to visit my house, and there were occasions like Rakhi and all such kind of festivals. And I was preparing. I had totally secluded myself, and I was staying in the first floor of the house. Of course, I had that privilege that I could get that isolated facility. But then I requested माई पेरेंट्स कि मुझे अपना टाइम वाइजली इन्वेस्ट करना है, तो मुझे नहीं मिलना है. अगर मुझे मिलना भी है तो मैं नमस्ते करके मैं वापस चली जाऊंगी. सो देन दिस द रिलेटिव स्टार्टेड टेकिंग इट एज अदरवाइज कि ये तो पता नहीं क्या कितना पढ़ाई कर रहे हैं, बिकॉज दे आर सीइंग इट. से फॉर एग्जांपल 1 साल हो गया, 2 साल हो गए, अब वो तीसरे साल में मैं सेकेंड अटेम्प्ट दे रही हूँ. तो देन दे यूज टू इवन क्रिटिसाइज, टॉन्ट माई पेरेंट्स कि ये तो अपने बच्चों को पता नहीं क्या क्या बनाएंगे. सो माई फादर यूज टू से that I have an elder sister and a younger brother. So my father used to say कि irrespective of girl or a boy, they all have right to education, और उसके बाद में इनको जो करना है अपनी लाइफ में वो करें. तो वो इतना encourage करते थे, तो it was my responsibility also to have his honor and respect preserved. So I give whatever I could. एंड जब सिलेक्शन हुआ तो वही रिलेटिव्स ने फिर फ़ोन करके कॉन्ग्रेचुलेट भी किया दैट यस वी, हमें पता था कि वो तो बहुत होनहार है और वो तो ज़रूर उनका क्लियर होना ही था. तो फॉर एस्पिरेंट्स देर आर सम नॉन ऑब्वियस सेक्रीफाइसेस यू हैव टू कट ऑफ फ्रॉम योर अननेसेसरी डिस्ट्रैक्शंस. बट ऑफकोर्स साथ में ये भी ज़रूरी है कि आपको जिस चीज़ से खुशी मिलती है, बिकॉज इस प्रिपरेशन के दौरान यू विल गेट डीमोटिवेटेड, देयर वुड बी फेजेस ऑफ लो मोटिवेशन ऑल्सो. स्ट्रेस बहुत आता है, कि एंग्जाइटी बहुत आ जाती है, एप्रीहेंशन आ जाती है कि होगा नहीं होगा कैसे होगा. सो फॉर मैनेजिंग दैट ऑल्सो इट इज़ इम्पोर्टेंट टू स्टे फिजिकली एंड मेंटली हेल्दी एंड हैप्पी. इफ यू हैव सम हॉबी, गिव टाइम टू देम. रीडिंग, राइटिंग, प्लेइंग म्यूजिक और डांसिंग और गोइंग फॉर वॉक, या किसी फ्रेंड से बात करनी है, फैमिली से बात करनी है, तो वो भी हमें मेंटेन करना है. डू नॉट जस्ट पनिश योरसेल्फ कि मैं प्रिपरेशन कर रहा हूँ या कर रही हूँ. इट इज़ ऑल्सो इम्पोर्टेंट टू टेक एडिक्वेट breaks in between. So I think this preparation is a long drawn process. So one needs to understand. I term it as four P's: your passion, patience, perseverance, and positive outlook. Passion, patience, perseverance, and positive outlook. These are very important. आपका जुनून, आपका पेशेंस, आपका परसिवरेंस की फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट में नहीं होगा तो दोबारा आप, मतलब अगर आपको देना है तो आप अपना एनर्जी और डबल करिए. एंड पॉजिटिव आउटलुक, एक अपने ऊपर विश्वास भी होना है कि हाँ हमारा होगा. दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. एंड ऑल्सो विजन, गोल, प्लान एंड एक्शन इज इम्पॉर्टेंट. VGPA. So vision means ki what is it that you want to achieve in life after 5 years? How do you foresee yourself? Vision should be translated into achievable units which are called goals. छोटा यूनिट कि अगले 6 महीने में ये करना है, 3 महीने में ये करना है. प्लान, हाउ डू वी अचीव दीज गोल्स? सो दीज आर दी एक्शनेबल पॉइंट. एंड देन एक्शन, उस पर काम करना. जो आपने एक्शनेबल पॉइंट्स बनाए हैं उन पे अपना कार्रवाई करना, उस पर अपना एक्शन लेना, उस पर स्टेप्स लेना. सो VGPA इज ऑल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर द एस्पिरेंट्स टू अंडरस्टैंड एंड initiate what they want, to decide what they want in life and then act on that. Actually, I don't think that any kind of a study material, in fact, study material, in fact, I have not read that kind of. I don't know why this question was framed. In fact, I wanted to tell the moderator also that inherent colonial mentality in the syllabus taught in IAS preparation institutes. I totally disagree to that. कोई भी coaching institute इस बारे में कोई बात ही नहीं करता है. यू कैन, इनफैक्ट मतलब मैं तो दिल्ली एनसीआर की बात कर सकती हूँ बिकॉज आई हैव सीन द कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट्स इन हरियाणा एंड दिल्ली. इवन दो आई टुक पार्शियल कोचिंग बट आई एम स्टिल इन टच. But none of them would actually be teaching. And we also never get this kind of a mindset when we are getting trained in Lavasana. So I would request the team, maybe they can eliminate this question. I totally disagree कि किसी भी कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट में कलोनियल माइंडसेट आईएएस ऑफिसर्स का है नहीं है, ये सब चीजें नहीं पढ़ाई जाती हैं. they never discuss all this. It is the, I would like to say, it is the perception of the society. It is a perception of the society कि हम आईएएस ऑफिसर्स अपने आप को उस माइंडसेट में लेके चल रहे हैं. But does the society ever audits the facilities being enjoyed by a political executive? Even by an MLA, you leave the MP. Even by a गांव प्रधान, उनसे क्या कंपेयर कभी करते हैं कि एक आईएएस ऑफिसर, एक आईपीएस ऑफिसर का क्या फैसिलिटी उनको मिल रहा है? सी, देयर आर सम इनहेरेंट थिंग्स which we need to work, which we need. I am not criticizing government for that. For example, there was so much of UN cry about use of battis, use of red light on vehicle. You don't give red light, no problem, but there should be some mechanism available to an officer who is moving in field. अगर कोई लॉ एंड ऑर्डर सिचुएशन हो जाए तो लोगों को पता तो लगना चाहिए कि कोई डीसी आया है वहां पे. कैसे पता लगेगा? If your vehicle is as same as the vehicle of a public, people will not even understand who is he or she. Right now, there is no system of providing escort except in the insurgency areas. In Tripura, when I was working, there was a system of giving escort to officers in field. But in Haryana, it is not there. हरियाणा में सिर्फ एक पीजी रहता है जो कि गाड़ी में बैठता है. अगर आप ऐसी किसी भी सिचुएशन में जाते हो, किसी को पता ही नहीं लगेगा कि डेप्टी कमिश्नर आया है या एसडीएम आया है. सो आई एम नॉट क्रिटिसाइजिंग एनीबडी, बट आई एम सीइंग कि सोसाइटी परहैप्स हैज डेवलप्ड दैट परसेप्शन. उनका नोशन यही हो गया है कि आईएएस ऑफिसर्स जस्ट एंजॉय द फैसिलिटीज. फ्रैंकली आई एम टेलिंग कि ऑफिसर्स के पास खुद के पास टाइम होता ही नहीं है कि वो एंजॉय करें. We hardly get time. We are working even on weekends. So this thing, I don't know why this question has been syllabus. At least कोई तैयारी के कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट्स में तो ये सब बातें कोई ओपनली बोलता नहीं है. अगर कोई कहीं पे बोलते होंगे, आई एम नॉट श्योर, बट आई हैव नॉट हर्ड that disclaimer.
Surely, ma'am, we will eliminate the question for
It's
that, and
not
sorry
in
for
two
that.
days also. No problem. I mean, I just thought कि I should convey because you
Yes,
people
ma'am.
represent India. तो कोई इंस्टीट्यूट्स में कोई अफरन नहीं बोलता है कि जी आप बन जाओगे तो आपको लाल बत्ती वाली गाड़ी. आजकल सबको पता है कोई लाल बत्ती की गाड़ी नहीं मिल रही है. आप एक स्टाफ भी नहीं रख सकते हो बिना यू आई एम पेइंग माय ओन स्टाफ फ्रॉम माय पर्सनल एक्सपेंसेस. सो वो सब चीज़ें बहुत खत्म हो गई, बहुत चेंज आता जा रहा है. नाउ थिंग्स आर बिकमिंग सो ट्रांसपेरेंट. People can apply RT and take all information. How much staff is deployed in deputy commission residence? वो तो XYZ सारा डिटेल अवेलेबल है, राइट? चलो
Yes, ma'am.
नेक्स्ट. हाँ,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So my next question to you is, you as an IAS, what forms of reforms you would suggest in our system and the working of the civil service setup should change for right now?
सी रिफॉर्म्स अगर हम बात करें कि सिविल सर्विसेज को कैसे बेटर परफॉर्म करना है, सो उसमें फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट इज दैट वी शुड हैव मोर women representation in civil services. We need more women officers, whether it is the IES, whether it is the IPS, foreign service, all other kind of services. Because when you have more women in leadership role, you will have that balance in policy making as well as implementation. You will have an overall gender parity in society. So first and foremost is that we need to improvise, and it is a systemic process. It will not happen overnight. मोर विमेन इन ब्यूरोक्रेसी तभी आएंगी जब हम एजुकेशन स्टेटस बढ़ाएं, जब हम गर्ल चाइल्ड की एजुकेशन में इन्वेस्ट करें, उनके हायर एजुकेशन में इन्वेस्ट करें. वी एनकरेज द गर्ल चाइल्ड टू टेक हायर एजुकेशन, गिव देम एक्सपोजर, गिव दैट कॉन्फिडेंस, तभी हम उनको आगे ला पाएंगे. सो फर्स्ट थिंग इज दैट improve the percentage of women in bureaucracy, encourage them to appear in civil services, encourage them to come to the government, so that we have a more balanced workforce, at least in the government sector. Second thing I would like to also mention that the way transfers and postings of the officers is being conducted, there has been a constitution of a civil services board, but in many and most of the states it is not functioning effectively. So that also needs a change, that अगर कोई body बनाई है तो उसका function effectively तो हो. So that is also one thing we need to see, because the transfers and postings of officers, we are not sure कि हमारी आज यहाँ posting हुई है, हमें कितना time मिलेगा इस profile में. So due to that reason we are not able to plan, we are not able to have that vision that हम यहाँ 1 साल हैं, 2 साल हैं. And sometimes what is happening is that in a short period of time you cannot make changes in the system, you cannot make changes in the procedure, or you cannot make any change which is sustainable. So that stability of tenure is one important thing which we need in government. तो उसको ensure करने के लिए we need to have a more effective system for handling the transfers and postings of officers. Also, it is important for having more training and workshop for the officers also, because now many things are changing. When I see my own self, when I joined service way back in 2008 से लेके आज इतना ज़्यादा changes आ गया है. The way society is moving forward, there is digitalization, private sector में और भी ज़्यादा change आया है. And ऐसा बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं जो officers को खुद को नहीं पता होती हैं, because we cannot know each and everything under the sun. So regular training workshops are also important, and overall orientation and mindset जो है public service delivery का, उसके लिए भी ये ज़रूरी है कि we need to have that thing again and again ingrained amongst us. I am not saying कि we all forget, it is not that, but refresher courses, trainings, वो सब भी और ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है. And when we're talking about how to ensure effective public service delivery, I think digitalization in our country is playing a very important role for improving governance, and it is helping two ways. It is helping in improving citizen to government and government to citizen interface, C2G and G2C. So when this interface is improving, when you are writing an email and then you are getting the response, or if you are writing, if you want some certificate and you are applying online and then you are getting it with say within 7 days or whatever is the time frame under the Right to Service Act. So that is a big change that you are not visiting the government offices physically. There is lot of reduction in corruption. People do not need to face unnecessary harassment visiting the offices and interacting with the people who are in the street level bureaucracy, the lower level officials. So all these things are welcome. So we need more digitalization, we need more transparency, and of course regular trainings and orientation. That is also very important. Next question. Yeah, yeah. Yes, of course. India has seen a progression in the percentage of women participation, whether it is government, whether it is corporate, whether it is the rural area or the urban area, and we are seeing also the women empowerment and gender parity is happening at various levels. But there are three four things which we all need to understand: that education and financial independence of women, financial independence of women, economic independence of women, that is most essential and crucial when we are talking about women empowerment. If a woman is educated but she is sitting at home and acting as a homemaker, even though that is also a whole time profession in the sense that she would be occupied the entire day, but I would not say that she is economically independent. एंड कहीं ना कहीं उनका जो पार्टिसिपेशन रहेगा हाउस होल्ड के डिसीजन मेकिंग में, इवन इफ इट्स अ डोमेस्टिक इशू और काइंड ऑफ एनी इशू जो उनके फैमिली से रिलेटेड होगा, तो शायद वो उतना इफेक्टिव उनका पार्टिसिपेशन नहीं रहेगा, बिकॉज इट वुड बी ऑलवेज इन बैक ऑफ हर माइंड दैट शी इज नॉट अर्निंग, or even her spouse can also, or the relatives can also say that कमा तो बेटा ही कमा रहा है, आप इतना क्यों बोल रहे हो. So I what I mean to say is that this is a system in which our society, Indian society mindset has been progressing. We have seen a traditional patriarchal dominated mindset, which of course is changing, but we need to do a lot more. Education is very important, financial economic independence is very important. Also women, girls, they need to have that self confidence कि उनको लाइफ में आगे बढ़ना है, and that clarity, that vision, that goal should be there ki what is it that they want to achieve. And they also should be having that idea that they may not get things very easily, they may have additional struggle as compared to the male counterpart, but then they should be ready to take it. उससे भागना नहीं है, उसको फेस करके आगे बढ़ना है. And also it is important for the male counterpart to support a girl, to support the female, to support a woman when she is trying and attempting to move forward. Because it's a balance, it's the act of balance in the society. अगर एक लड़की आगे बढ़ना चाहती है, लेकिन अगर उसका जो इकोसिस्टम है जिसमें वो रह रही है, जिसमें पेरेंट्स हैं, या फॉर एग्जांपल जब वो शादी हो जाती है उसके स्पाउस हैं, उसके इन लॉज हैं, और अगर वो सपोर्ट नहीं कर रहे हैं तो वो शायद आगे ना बढ़ पाए, because not everybody would like to openly revolt and then leave everything and then do whatever she wants. So it is also important for the family, for the society to encourage, to help her move forward, और उसको ही ध्यान में रखते हुए कैसे आगे बढ़ना है, ये दोनों को ही, मेल एंड फीमेल काउंटर पार्ट, फॉर बोथ इट इज एसेंशियल. सो आई थिंक विमेन एम्पावरमेंट के लिए देयर आर लॉट ऑफ schemes and initiatives which are there by the government. We have Beti Bachao Beti Padhao Abhiyan for economic empowerment of women. We have support being given under the National Rural Livelihood Mission for encouraging women under SNGs, especially in the rural areas. We have many schemes. So women also need to come forward. Society also needs to support when she is coming forth. That I think is very much required.
So, ma'am, a lot can be still achieved in this regard. Ma'am, our next question is: apart from being an IAS, you are a health enthusiast as well as a motivational TEDx speaker. Ma'am, what do you think is the importance of having varied interest, and how has this quality helped you in your journey?
I think it is very important to understand the simple thing that it is important to be happy. आप जो भी काम करो उसमें अगर आप खुश नहीं हो, then definitely your purpose in life will not be achieved. So it is important to be happy, and to be happy it is very important to have a proper mental health. और उस mental health और physical health का जो balance है, उसके लिए आपको जो भी अच्छा लगता है, you want to do running, cycling, jogging, yoga, meditation, listening to music, dance, writing, reading, whatever you want. It is not only in civil services I'm talking about life in general. That identify what makes you happy. It can be meeting your friends, meeting your family, talking to them, having a small party, whatever. So क्या चीज़ आपको खुशी देती है, उस चीज़ को आइडेंटिफाई करना है, and have some time spent on that, especially when you are feeling low. It is also important कि आज के दिन में जो वर्क लाइफ है, the pressure is increasing so much, stress levels have increased so much, not only in civil services but also in corporate sector. Even from last 2 years, almost 2 years, I have been interacting with students across the country through, of course, these digital platforms and some programs I attended in physical. I have seen that, I have heard that even youth, some of the youth are facing the issue of depression, and they are seeking mental health counseling. Seeking counseling is good, because you have to understand that if you are having any issue, it has to get treated. That is very important. But आप उसको beyond a point ignore नहीं कर सकते हो. So, especially in younger generation, they are unfortunately having so much peer pressure. Career कैसे set होगा, आगे क्या करना है, distractions बहुत हैं. Social media in one sense is good, but many a times it is very damaging also. It is distracting कि उसको इतने likes मिले, मेरी फोटो पे इतने like नहीं आ रहे. I have heard actually this kind of feedback. So therefore, it is important to know what makes you happy and have some time spent on that, and physical and mental health. I think that is very important.
Sure, ma'am. That's a very important point you touched upon. Moving to our next question is that, ma'am, we are now seeing the government is recognizing the importance of role of youth in nation building. So, how much improvement do you think we need in education sector to develop the skills to empower youth right now in this century and in this generation?
Government is actually trying to improvise lot many things as far as the empowerment of youth is concerned. Of course, education, maybe we have got national education policy in which now we are trying to move. I'm talking about school, so in which the education is ed- they are trying to emphasize and shift from rote based learning to understand concept based learning. So, and even the kind of the pattern in which the examination is being conducted, that is also changing. right to education is of course there. So there are various policies and acts which are trying to improve the education not only in the school level but also at the higher education level. So many universities, if not government, at least the private universities are there, and government is trying to regulate. Of course, fee structure at some places are quite exorbitant, and not every student can afford. But the efforts and reforms in the education system are on. And when we're talking about empowerment, even the economic empowerment के लिए government is having so many programs, like under the Digital India Initiative, under Pradhan Mantri Employment Generation Program (PMEGP), under Skill India Mission. They are having Atal Innovation Mission, in which they are promoting the startups. They are encouraging the youth to have startup, to have something new, and take some advantage under the government scheme. So all these are very welcome step, but definitely we need to do a lot more. And for the youth also, I would like to just request that whatever career or profession you are choosing, we should align our own goals with the goals of the society, with the aims of the society which are required, of the area in which we are living. So that is also important. And I think youth empowerment ke liye now government is also focusing on improvising not only education but also the sports. Under the Khelo India program, now they are uh, improving the infrastructure at the not only at the district level but also at the panchayat level. More grounds, more sports infrastructure, more facilities, trainers, coaches, improvisation of diet. So all these are welcome step, and I think uh, the efforts towards empowering youth are in a very positive way.
That is
Next question, please. My take on this, I have already mentioned that your life can be a quarantined life. Of course, the sacrifices, the commitments which you make, you should be having that focus and direction. And that peer pressure would always be there. Even in my time, I used to see my colleagues from school and colleges ki they have already joined MNCs. They are earning well while I was preparing and I was doing a part-time job. So this will always remain. But आपका preference क्या है? What is it that you want to have in life? That should be clear. और सिविल सर्विसेज तो एक ऐसा प्लेटफॉर्म है जिसमें अगर आप एक बार तैयारी में घुस जाते हो तो इमिजिएटली आप बाहर भी नहीं आ सकते. दिस इज ऑल्सो वन थिंग विच वी ऑल नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड, दैट दिस इज अ साइकिल, एंड देयरफॉर इट इज इम्पोर्टेंट बिफोर जॉइनिंग प्रिपरेशन. मैं ये एक बात यही रिपीट करूंगी कि बिफोर यू स्टार्ट योर प्रिपरेशन, व्हाट इज योर ओन पर्पस ऑफ जॉइनिंग सिविल सर्विसेज. किसी ने कह दिया कि आप तैयारी कर रहे हो, उसी से ही आपकी सोसाइटी में इज्जत हो जाएगी या लोग आपको एक हायर पेडिस्टल पे रखेंगे, तो उसके लिए डेफिनेटली मत कीजिएगा. You are wasting your own time. You are playing with your own emotions. You are playing with your career and future. And of course, sentiments of family are attached. So अगर उसके लिए करना है तो उसके लिए मत कीजिएगा. If you want to do it for your own self, do it for your own purpose. And these distractions will keep coming. But once you start preparing sincerely, इन सब से बहुत ज़्यादा फर्क भी नहीं पड़ेगा. They will not be able to bother you beyond a point. क्योंकि टाइम नहीं होगा सोचने का. You will not have time. और मेरे टाइम में शायद अच्छी बात ये थी कि we never had mobile phones. एक ये added advantage था हमारे पास में. I got mobile phone very later, I think 2006 में. वो भी it was a shared mobile with my sister. जस्ट इन केस कि जब उनकी इवनिंग क्लासेस होती थी, शी वाज दैट टाइम डूइंग चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंसी, सीए कर रही थी वो. तो अगर उनकी कोई क्लासेस होती थी एंड शी वाज ट्रैवलिंग, तो उनको मिलता था फ़ोन और मेरे को ज़रूरत होती थी तो मैं लेके जाती थी. इट वाज अ शेयर्ड मोबाइल. तो वो डिस्ट्रैक्शंस नहीं थी. आज के दिन में तो डिस्ट्रैक्शंस ही बहुत है. इंस्टाग्राम अकाउंट ही सिविल सर्विसेज एस्पिरेंट्स को इतना, आई एक्चुअली फील कि मैनी ऑफ द एस्पिरेंट्स दे आर, आई एम नॉट क्रिटिसाइजिंग, बट वो कितना अपना तैयारी का फोटो डाल रहे हैं, अपना बुक्स का फोटो डाल रहे हैं. इट्स गुड कि इफ दे आर मोटिवेटेड दैट इज गुड, बट अननेसेसरी टाइम वेस्ट नहीं करना है. यू हैव टू बी सेल्फिश. अननेसेसरी टाइम वेस्ट, यूपीएससी एस्पिरेंट हूँ मैं, उसको सोशल मीडिया में डालना है, उसको व्हाट्सएप पे डालना है, ट्विटर पे डालना है, दैट इज नॉट advisable. So I think these all things the aspirants need to understand. ओके, माय प्लेजर. एंड
Thanks a lot, ma'am.
आपके कोई क्वेश्चंस अगर रह भी गए होंगे ना, अगर आपको इंक्लूड करने हैं, तो वंस यू आर सेंडिंग विद द ड्राफ्ट बिफोर पब्लिशिंग,